Ben Perkins is an artist that you can really watch him grow just on a single page. He is just blowing up, and he is sure to rock it off any minute. So today we're going to take a look at his work on his new book, DeathSlinger, out by Cosmic Lion Productions, written by Shane Berryhill. And before we take a look at that, don't forget to join my Patreon, where you can take a look at some of my work as I'm producing it, as well as read some serialized comics and get physical rewards. So welcome to Chris Anderson Comics. So tell me a little bit about DeathSlinger. This is the latest book that you drew.
Right. Shane Berryhill was the writer of this, and he approached me to work on it. It's basically a cyborg who was a death slinger for what we call the Third Reich, which is kind of like the space Nazis of our universe. And they fell. They were overthrown. And she is displaced. She doesn't know what she does or needs to do. And so basically she ends up on this, I think we call it perdition or moon of perdition. And she's just trying to eke an existence. But what do? Is it nature or nurture that defines you? She's a death slinger. She's made for slinging death. So how does she use that when she doesn't have to? Do you know what I mean?
Right,
so that's kind of like what I got from the story. Is that she wants to do good in a world where she's been programmed just to sling death.
To be bad, right?
Yeah.
I love the design of the cover that you did here, man. I love the diagonal, composition. But then you've got like this, you go this balls out, Stephen Platt, Jeff Darrow, gun shells everywhere.
Yeah, I had to, dude. After, I was a big follower, still am, of the Cartoons Kayfabe channel, and they always mention a gross amount of shell casings, so I had to do it. And I think this is actually a cropped version of the drawing I did. There's probably 50% more shells that I drew, but I just didn't look that pretty to have that so far away on the cover. So, but yeah, I like what they did. Keith Finch, he's our designer, and he definitely is the glue that holds this whole book together. Without him, I don't think it would look as pretty. I mean, we definitely went with the edict of having this be a what's the term that Paul Pope is used? Is this like a graphic container? The whole thing is an art container. So we went with that, and I just tried my best to bring Shane's script to life, and every page was something I just wanted to hit and do something I hadn't done before. And so there's a lot of the cool layout stuff and storytelling beats that I just I don't know. I just wanted to pour everything I had. It took about a year, and I can't remember how long it took, but I did come in under deadline. The deadline was actually supposed to be for the art, supposed to be in April, and I think I got it done right at the end of December. So give us plenty of time. Yeah, I was so jazzed to do it, and we did it, and I was super happy with how it came out.
Well, let's get into it.
Yeah, man, I'm excited.
So, I love this first panel that you got here, where she's sort of like, I guess this is in the beginning when they were sort of manufacturing her or something, and she's sort of coming together. Like her little joints aren't even put together. You really went in and went to high detail in here, and then to where she's released and is just delivering death.
Yeah, and you have all the guys are falling down, cascading behind her. I really wanted to get that beginning, that James Bond kind of movie feel, where it's just like you get the whole thing in one page, right? And I think this was actually, which is a credit to Shane, and I asked him, and it's part of the reason why he decided to make me co-creator, which is just so generous of him, right? Is that I decided, I'm like, let me try to lay out these pages how I feel, because I think the script had I think it had like 4 or 5 panels that was describing all these actions. And I was like, we can just do this way simpler. We can just show her start, her introduction, her birth, basically, and then what she does. Excuse me. And again, the shell casings, the falling bodies, all these things again, I wanted to hit the high detail. I wanted to hit these layers of these guys in the lab where you got the guy next to the tube, you got the people at the desk, and then you have the observers way back, kind of just looking and seeing how the project's going. All this hyper detail stuff I've done before, but I really wanted to nail it. You know what I mean? Like really with the intent. So, and I think I did. This is my favorite page. Actually, not all the pages are my favorite pages, to be honest. But this is like is up there.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I think that, like as the artist, that's sort of your job, is to, take a look at what the writer puts down and the pacing of it and stuff. And if it's not working for you, if it doesn't work for your style, or if you think it can be done better, then that is your job to do that, and absolutely right.
And that comes back to my thing about having a page end on a question and the next page start with the answer. You can find those. You can find those moments in the script, and sometimes the script will have both of them at the end of one page. And like, we can definitely separate that. Or again, like I'm always planning for the left-hand reveals, like all the mechanics that come with physically looking through a comic book. I'm always trying to keep in mind so that it's an enjoyable experience for the reader. Like my whole goal is, one, to interpret the script, but two, make it as crazy as I can, make it as cool as I can, also clear and readable. Like the number one edict for me is, can I show it to a non-comic book person, and will they be able to get what's happening without me telling them like the story, So that's always number one.
Yeah, or even give it to them without any words on it, and
That's usually what I end up doing. That's what I usually do in the beginning. I'll give it to a couple of friends and be like, "Hey, can you tell me what you think is going on here?" And usually they nail it, which is that's a good compliment for me, So
yeah, exactly. It means you're doing it right.
Yeah.
So we're sort of dropped then in the next page, sort of into the future here, where we meet these sort of characters that live in this sort of Tatooine-y looking hut,
Right. Yeah, this the mechanic and his daughter, Magpie, and they have this little cat creature. Like all this stuff is definitely it's kind of funny. And again, some of the things that I like about comics too is like the Turtles or something, where the art starts off at the beginning of the story is kind of crude because the person's trying to find the characters, and then by the end, it's almost different and streamlined. So there's definitely a progression of the art in this book that gets it starts off on that crude manner, but then it starts getting real cleaned up, which is something that surprised myself because I didn't know I'd gotten that sharp by the end of it. And when I started to look back at the old pages, I was like, oh, I hope that doesn't throw people off. But for me personally, I kind of like seeing that in a book, especially in one single volume. I think it's kind of neat. So
yeah, absolutely.
Because I think I pushed, like her hair gets pushed to an extreme later on, where before I was a little bit timid about giving her a mohawk. I wanted her to have a mohawk, but by the end, she's got this huge that becomes like a graphic element unto itself in a lot of ways.
Exactly. I was going to point that out, and I wanted to find a better image of her to point that out, where your character design elements are really great, because in silhouette, you can definitely tell that it's her 1,000%, and she's almost got this like, Bic flame coming off the top of her head.
Yeah. Then it ends up being kind of like a whip almost at the end of it, right?
Yeah,
but that's again, it says. Go ahead.
No, I love these eyes. They're almost like they're sharp, and they peer right into you, almost like a camera.
Yeah, that was kind of the idea too. And again, I wanted to kind of push the cyborg element and kind of get away from like a normal eye. And I've not seen people do eyes like this, to be quite honest. Maybe they're out there. I haven't seen them, but I wanted to give her that silver kind of chrome look to her eye. And that shutter thing is it's definitely apropos. If I was smarter, I would have added those little telescoping lens pieces, but I think I've seen that before. So
yeah, I don't think it was necessary. I think you conveyed that in the way that you did it. It might have been overkill.
Right. But, I think you're probably right.
She's got these kind of bug people tracking her down, and I love this.
Yeah,
you have these beats here with this, this fly that's going through this double page spread, and it acts as your keeper of time.
Yes, exactly. They're after her because she stole their bike, which has an Atomo engine. So that's our little nod to Akira there. Yeah. But yeah, that again, I have to credit Keith too, because I think at the beginning I did not have the correct formatting for the book. I can't remember what I was doing. I was just going for it. And then we went back and forth on a lot of things. And so he was able to help format this so that it actually fit into the double page spread. So kudos to him. My favorite bit about that, besides the fly, is when you go across the bottom, she's flipping her jacket open and she's moving the dust out of the way as it comes closer to her, which I thought was pretty cool. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but those are the moments that I like where you can get the motion without making those little speed line things. I mean, I do like speed lines, but I like not using them too, and using organic ways to do that.
Yeah, it's a different way of playing with time and motion and space and stuff, like we saw, in the Last of the Independents, with the way of playing with sound, with moving elements instead of
for sure
onomatopoeia or anything like that. So
yeah, well,
I know, and I love the way that it's like, fingers on the trigger, hand is going towards a gun. They're staring at each other. And, in the amount of time it takes for a fly to cross a room, that's how much time we've got.
Right. And again, I after this issue, I was doing a lot of localized color, which I'm sure it takes a long time to keep the local color the same panel to panel and character to character, especially when they have a lot of different parts that need a lot of different pieces of color. So then my edict was to try to just color tone wise. So the color starts getting really outrageous after this chapter, which I'm super excited about.
Yeah, but that's also a storytelling device,
Sure, for sure. Mm-hmm.
And then you have there's these moments in here too where it's almost like you're reading an email or something. It's like news or things that kind of fill you in on the story. And
which again, it's like that kind of world building that Shane wants to do, and he definitely is taking a page out of Watchmen, I'm sure, to try to fill in that ancillary material. And it's all real good too. I mean, he's a sharp writer, man. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
I do like this, the last page of that first chapter where she's just shooting them all. That's when I start playing around with that color device,
Right here, yeah.
With all the yellows. Yeah, and this is fun too. All this is great. I mean, I love the motion. I love the smoke. I love that you can feel them cascading through this canyon, Yeah. It's fun.
Super stylized smoke. It almost feels like underwater, jets or something.
Oh, yeah, right on. Yeah, well, again, like they're on an alien planet, so I figured that's what alien dust would kind of act like. I don't know.
Sure.
But I do appreciate the compliment. It was just a way to get some volumetrics into that scene too, for that smoke or the dust or whatever. Absolutely. I just realized now that I have all these shell casings that are not colored in this page.
Oh,
whoops!
Well,
whoops! Well, that's you got. Hey, man, you gotta have one good by you.
And then you get creative with the panel borders here by breaking them up and smashing them.
Yeah,
and not using a definitive line around them, so it's just the color holds.
Yeah, I was really curious of how that would work, and I like it. I mean, it kind of gives a lens of chaos to the scene, it's because I did just have it regular, and I'm like, man, this doesn't look exciting enough. It doesn't look, how can I get across without redrawing the whole thing? And then I think I split it in the center, and then I was like, oh wait, if I have it like shards of glass or like pieces coming off, like shattering, I think that would sell it. And it did. And a lot of people have pointed that out, so I'm glad that's working for people, because I honestly thought that would, like, what the fuck's this guy doing? Why is he breaking up one panel like that? It doesn't make sense. But yeah, no, I'm glad that you dig it.
Did you draw this digitally?
The first couple of issues I did, and then I colored it. No, the first couple I did traditionally, and then I think starting with the third chapter, I can't tell you. Third or fourth chapter, I started doing it all digitally. But my goal was to not make it look like there was a difference.
Right. Yeah. So this is all traditional. These pages.
These pages are traditional for sure. Yeah.
Okay. What are you using to ink with?
A combination of things. I used like a Krill Quill dip pen. I have some fine line, like monoliner markers, like some Faber-Castells. I got some. Actually, my favorite pen is the Fudasunuke dual tip pens. One's got like a large brush, and the other's got like a fine liner brush. So they come from Japan. The Tombao. Those are what I was using pretty much almost exclusively. So I like the bounce it gives. Oh, okay. There's definitely like a thick thin you can pull from them, but a lot of this is I think the monoliner.
Yeah, I like those a lot too. I've been using those a lot more lately. I was using the Kiritake fine point brush pens, but the problem is the point runs out just like so fast.
Yeah,
and then it you got a deadline after that. So I ended up like just buying like 50 of them and then waiting until the as soon as the fine line would roll out or would roll out, I would put them in like a bucket, and so now I got a bucket just full of these things. I'm like, this is wasteful. I mean, I'll use them, but I don't like 50 of them.
I have a big thing where I'll just use a fine liner, and I'll just build up my line, and then to get that thick thin, I'll just manipulate that, by building up a part and then under building up another part.
Yeah, that's way too precise for me.
Yeah, well, it's definitely at the time because I have like crazy, like I need my lines to look a certain way. So that's one way I can achieve that. Yeah, of course. Right. So yeah, I like this bang. I like this whole thing. This is fun. Just her whipping the gun out.
Yeah.
Again, I'm in love with onomatopoeia. When it works, I like to incorporate it as much as I can.
Yep. And you're pushing the perspective here, and here's a good use of color for storytelling with these, kids screaming.
Right, and you're not going to get what that is at first, but we do a repeat motif of this, and then that pays off, which lends to her pathos in a way. I think is what. I don't know if that's what Shane was going for, but that's what I picked up. So, and this girl that he meets is the sister of the magpie that she met in the first chapter. So she's like, oh, okay. And it's just kind of funny. She's like saving these people, but just giving them to the other people. She's playing both sides against the other. It's kind of it's kind of a fun thing that she's trying to do here.
Here you're starting to grow the flame hair.
Yeah, it's definitely getting big. It's kind of funny going back and looking at it because it looks so stiff, and then like the later chapters, it's so fluid and like just going across few panels. Even it's crazy.
Well, everybody's hair grows, right?
Yeah, there you go.
I really like the design of these characters here too. These sort of like, this is almost like Jabba's palace kind of.
Yeah. I mean, you were talking about tropes earlier, and it's another kind of the tropey sci-fi gangster reptile character. If you're familiar with Jabba the Hutt, this will sing, and then you'll get it automatically. I like this guy that's standing next to him with his casual pose, smoking the cigarettes, kind of like his Boba Fett.
Yeah, totally. Like Jabba holds my digital pen here.
Oh yeah, nice, dude. That's awesome. I love it. Again, I tried to push it again. I got characters in the back and like these booths behind them, like playing cards or whatever, having drinks.
Yeah.
Then again, like making a reflective light or a rim light with the green on the side of his face because, just trying to do different things with color.
Yeah.
And keep it kind of
stark when you move over to this page too, because it looks like you did a color hold on the ink line. It's
I think I might have, and I do try to play with color holds now and again, just because for me, I've been more satisfied seeing like a de-stressed black or even like a non-existent, like it doesn't have to be black anymore. And I used to love black, black and white. I was a big Frank Miller fan. If I could get that black on the page, but now I realize sometimes it clashes with the color I'm trying to lay down. So I have to kind of mute that ink line and kind of make it not. So yeah, I think there is some color holds here on this page. And I think they'll pop up more when we come up later. There's some different chapters here.
Yeah, well, it works really well here because you're in this, dark, this red, this dingy, harsh place with dark, deep blacks. And then this is a lighter place, where it's, the whole mood has changed. Until...
Right. Yeah. Well, she's getting drunk off of jewels because she's a cyborg, so she's like replenishing her battery supply, but she gets too much, she gets a little tipsy. Yeah. So Magpie accidentally hits her with a broom, and she gets all crazy on her. What do you think you're doing?
The mean drunk, huh?
Yeah. And of course, again, she's a DeathSlinger, so that's her nature, is to automatically just kind of get after somebody. So she has to calm herself down again, and she realizes the what we call the transistors on the top of Magpie's head. They match the woman that she just saved and that convoy. So she starts putting two and two together, like, oh, I think that might be your sister, kind of thing. Yeah, and she says it. My sister has transistors just like mine. Have you seen Alicia? Is she alive? And now she's debating what she's gonna do.
I love this sort of like how everything is futuristic, and everybody's like sort of robotic, but it still is an 8-bit world.
Yeah, dude. I love it. I didn't know he was gonna do this, but this is great. I love it. I love it. It's so good. And we got another one with Vish on the other side.
Really cool.
It's great.
This is cool, where she's just spraying, and I love the way that you have the just ribbons of smoke coming out of the shells here.
Again, another way to do that whole. And like the thing is, it was the gun turret from the previous chapter. She just ripped it off of that vehicle, so she's actually the little spokes there, like the part that were supposed to be attached to the car or the vehicle, or whatever. So she just wrenched this up. But it was another thing to be like, okay, how can I want to do the shell cases again, but how can I make it different than I just did? And of course, I had them dropping, and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to put smoke off every one of these. And as soon as I came up with the idea, I had to commit, and that took a long time to do and a long time to color. But the effect is great, man. And you can see a couple of them are like bouncing off the ground, and so that the smoke kind of bounces with it. Yep. There's a lot of cool stuff. I got some people laying on the ground. I'm a big fan of magenta, so you get the magenta sky. I just think it all works. And it's one of my favorite pages, actually. I think it came out great, and you can hear it. You can just hear it. It's like blowing people down. Thanks. Yeah.
I'm guessing that you did this page traditionally, still, right?
This is still traditional. Yeah, I can kind of tell what my lines do with the hand on paper.
Yeah, I can see some like white medium here in the texture.
Sure. Yep. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it's one thing that I don't like about doing drawings digitally is that I kind of forget to spot my blacks. These kind of tend to fade out. So I'm trying to get back and do the traditional stuff so I can remember to balance the page as best I can.
Yeah, I've got a lot of problems with myself. I can't. I've tried to do it several times totally digitally, and it works, but I just keep running into problems.
There's something lacking sometimes, right? At least I feel that.
Well, yeah, there's that, and there is the disconnect of the tactile part of it, but there's also the fact that like I will get way too detailed in a small panel that I've blown up, and then I'm not thinking about it, and then I shrink it down, and I'm like, oh, that's never going to print. No one's ever going to see that, and I just spent an hour on that face or whatever,
Yeah, I have I can't remember what my percentage is, but I never go more than like X amount of percent into a page, just so I can have that arm's distance kind of compositional vibe to it when I'm looking at a page.
You're smarter than I am.
Well, it's not smart. It's just years of trial and error, because I have done that where I've done, and then it comes out like a black smudge in the back, and I'm like, oh, that was a waste of time.
Yeah.
I do like this when she opens the door and you see the light pouring past her face. So it's like I think it's the page before on yours, where she's rescuing the kids, and they can't really see her face, but she's like an angel of like a savior almost. Yeah, I like that bit.
Yeah, and I love the like the airiness of these two pages together.
Yeah, thank you.
Space in here.
Yeah, I do like this moment too, where she gets the hug, and she's totally like unprepared for that. She doesn't know what that means.
Yeah, that's a great expression.
And then the little hearts with the cybernetic rings around them. I think that's kind of a good idea. Just again. Heart. Yeah. Just anything to like. Again, it's a comics medium. It's a comics language. I don't like to get too serious with it. I like to have fun, so I like to put those jarns and like those little doodads in there, just to kind of make it. I don't know. It just makes it fun, And people get it. It helps the story. Again, we get this moment where she flashes back to whatever these girls are screaming.
Right.
It's all good stuff. Yeah, it's fun. It's fun stuff. I don't know how a cyborg can cry, but she's crying.
Leaking oil.
Yeah, right. Yeah, this is a cool moment too. I was really proud of myself for this pulling the pin on this grenade. Because again, I didn't really want to do all this localized color, so I put her just in shade, and then I kind of lit the grenade in her arm, and it just tells you all you need to know. I thought that was a pretty cool choice.
Yep.
It's fun what you can discover when you're doing this kind of stuff. What works, what doesn't. I just love the experimentation.
Yeah. Bing bong burn.
Yeah.
I just love these character designs, man.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. That's what I live for, man. I really like making characters. I really like designing characters, even like offshoot ones, like this robot with the fucking knob on top of his head, just standing there waiting for the train. You know, you got a devil guy. Who cares? But yeah, the Mark IV. Again, Shane gave me like photos for inspiration, just to kind of like paint the world a little bit, kind of the mood of it, and I just took it and ran with it. So yeah, the Mark IV is one of my favorite character designs, along with Jenny 666. She's pretty cool too. But yeah, this one came out almost automatically. I was just like, oh, I know exactly what I'm gonna do. So yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And I like the stomp, I just like the I don't know, the anticipation of his reveal, even though he gets revealed on the same page. It's just kind of like this stomp, and then boom, there he is, right? It's cool stuff.
I love these chapter breaks too that they put together.
Oh yeah, I mean, super smart. Again, a lot of that's Shane, of course, putting the words out, but Keith just doing a bang up job being a great designer, man. I mean, he's the glue that's holding this whole thing together. It's great.
Yeah. And another really great design with this lizard dude with his spiked shoulder pad. And
yeah. This is Vish. This is the same guy that was in the red room before.
Right.
So I do.
You just get to see his shape more, you know.
Yeah. You get to see exactly what it's all about. And again, I have all these like reptile people behind him. This page took forever to do, just to colorize them each differently so they were distinct.
Yeah.
And then I screwed myself because then on the next page I had this huge splash page and they're all behind him again. So I had to kind of repeat their locations and repeat where they were. And so I got to the point where like, okay, well the foreground ones, fuck them, they're all in shadow. We'll just do a base color for those. But this is I think one of Shane's favorite pages. He actually gifted me a huge poster of this. It came in the mail. It was laminated. So yeah, I'm gonna have to stick to my wall when I find the space, but definitely one of my favorite pages too. There's a lot going on this page.
Great, absolutely.
I like the robo hooker.
Yeah.
I mean, there's supposed to be a brothel here. This is what we're doing.
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, it came out great, man. I like her pose, her sniper pose.
And then you do on the next page. You do.
I did do it. I did do that. What?
But it paid off. It paid off.
Right.
You know.
Well, and I used it at the right moment, probably, because she's using it to look far away, right?
That's right.
Yeah, this is great. I like all this. I like Vish. I like his character design a lot. He was a fun character to draw.
Yeah, like I just love the shape of his head, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And then it changes when he gets shot.
Right.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's almost like, I don't know if you find this when you draw sometimes, but it's almost like sculpting, where you can actually feel the layers and levels of the indentations, and like his brow is definitely like, I felt sculptural to me. And then like the added layer of like taking that chunk out to give him his scar. So even in the lower lid, you can kind of see into it. All that stuff is really fun to draw. Yeah.
And then you get, again, you know, when all hell breaks loose, you go into the red here.
Yeah, and I thought that was important. Again, I didn't want to keep trying to do the localized color because, I mean, one, it gets boring to me, and I just kind of, I don't have the patience for it. Sure. So one, you can call it a lazy way to get out of that. But if there's also the shading that makes it volumetric. I was actually being very precise with who got what color, so you can kind of keep everybody organized in your head while reading it. You know, I love these. I love these bug guys getting fucking shot in the head. I don't know what it is when their heads go back. You can do a lot of cool things with their like mouth shapes and the blood.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of cool acting that I like. I'm not trying to toot my own horn too much, but like, the robo chick hides, the other one kind of like screams and like holds her hands to her face. There's all those things you have to consider, like when you're drawing these things. Like, what are the other characters doing?
Yeah, people can't just be like standing around. They've got to be doing something.
And if you're going to draw them, you might as well just draw them in a pose. It just takes a little bit more thinking. It's all it is just a little bit more thought.
Mm-hmm. And you go from a crazy page with a lot of stuff going on to something that's a little bit more mellow. You give the eye a chance to rest.
Right. That's
so
fine.
You got this guy just going to take out this woman and her baby, and his head just goes.
It's so great. And his friend, of course, again, the reaction shots are what's cool too, because this friend's like, "What the fuck?" That came out of nowhere, because she's supposed to be like, I don't know how far away, but in my mind, she was like a mile away. So she's totally like just capping these people off. So it's almost like the hand of God is coming down and like picking these guys off. And I do. This is actually one of my most favorite pages, is because I just
this one here.
Yeah, the bang bang bang. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just because, again, I like to think of comics as music, so I got the bang, 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 but again, it's good. And again, maybe I fear localized color, but I really like coloring these guys one color, shading with a darker version of that color or whatever, making them pop, but not making them distinct, so that just a complete massacre,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun. I had a couple of guys who were graphic designers tell me that on the Two Dimension podcast, I talked to them last week, I think, and they were talking about this page, and they said not a lot of times people do that where they can overlay art on a font and make it work, but they thought that this was credible enough that they're going to teach this in their next class of how to do it the right way. So I thought that was
really?
I thought that was a great compliment. Totally. It's just about picking the biggest, chunkiest font so that the art can actually show up on it, right?
Yeah.
And of course, now the Mark IV is coming up behind her and giving her some of the business. And I do like this effect of I didn't know how I was going to do this panel with her getting electrocuted, because I had in my mind what I wanted to do, but it wasn't really selling it for me, because I didn't get the impact I wanted. And so I was like, well, it'd be cool if we showed her, quote unquote, bones through the electricity, and of course it's all mechanical, so you have to do all that. And a lot of this is all fuckaroo. This doesn't make any sense. It's just cartoony. But I do like
it's a great idea.
And graphically it's pleasing in the middle of the page and everything. You get what's going on. It's fun. I like how he's almost taunting her, though.
Yeah, really, really coming up behind her and creeping her out.
Yep.
And you got the schematics that they put in here. Now this is crazy. So they've got her all like chained up here, and then they get information from her eye socket, and it's very or almost organic,
right?
And alien-esque.
And the thing is with this chapter, and I didn't have to fight too hard, but it was all written because the whole idea is we're getting her memories, we're seeing what she's seeing, right? And so a lot of it was like second person. And I told Shane, I'm like, this is not going to be easy, and I don't know if it's going to be very readable, but I believe that we should do this all in first-person point of view, because it's the only way, because it wouldn't make sense otherwise. It didn't make sense to me to tell it any other way, because this is from her point of view. We're pulling from her memories what she sees. Right. And so this is the start of it, and I don't see very many POV comics that are done first person. I'm trying to do one that's a first-person racing comic. So this is good practice for that.
Yeah. Well, this is cool because I like the way that you have this sort of like orange bubble coming in as a contrast from the blue. And now this is almost like I can hear like a harp as you go into, these orange pages of her memory now.
Right. Yeah, it's a good motif just to let us know. And I do drop that, I think, halfway through, but it just lets you know that we're in her memory space now.
Right. So the Holy Reich, it's like the evil empire, space Nazis. And so she was kind of part of them, yeah? Yeah,
she was like the head kind of bodyguard. She was the DeathSlinger. She was like the ultimate. If there was any issue, they would send her out to solve it. So she's always going along with the whoever, the main bad guy. I can't remember what they called him. The Supreme Leader. She's always with the Supreme Leader, so that's kind of her thing. So bodyguard in effect. But I do definitely like her hands came out. I like that you can tell that she's clapping. But again, it's all first person point of view, so it's like it gets real tricky when she starts going haywire. She starts going haywire, and I had to do this thing where she falls on the ground. Well, how do you do that? We just shift the floor to like match, to her side. I don't know if it's ultimately that readable. Hopefully, people will understand it. It gets real cooking when she starts going crazy and starts shooting everybody.
Yeah, I think my only criticism would be that I would have turned the letters sideways as she falls here.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, well, we're can't win them all. But yeah, no, you definitely that would have that would have sold it a bit. But yeah, she goes crazy. She shoots the second in command, shoots Supreme Leader, and then she zeroes in on Asha and Zoa, which are the two girls. Right. And then of course she's trying to fight it. I did this thing. It's kind of subtle. I probably should have colored it different, but she's wrenching her hand up, wrenching her firing arm up as it's firing, and you can see it pinging off the helicopter in the back. Ping, 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 ping. It's kind of cool. Trying to sell those moments,
Mm-hmm. And then this is the memory that we kept seeing as she's going after these kids.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and I do like I like the jumping through the stained glass window and her jumping down. I think it all sells. I think it all works. I mean, you tell me as a first person POV kind of thing. Did it read well for you, or was it kind of confusing?
No, I think it reads well. I think that it could have maybe used some more contrast, but other than that, I think it reads pretty well. Okay, cool.
And again, this is another one of my favorite pages. Her snapping out of it and just going totally, the memory revitalized her, freaked her out. So she's laying down that justice. She's slinging death, as it were.
And this thing just rips out of her eye. That's just gross.
Yep, and that's why we can give her a badass eye patch later on. So and she punches through this guy. It's so great. And a crunch. And so
she's escaped and makes it back to the mechanic.
Yep.
Who's helping put her back together. Yep, and then you got the eye patch. It's a great shot,
Oh, thanks.
Framed by darkness and.
Yeah, that was one of those weird ones where I was like, can I do this in like a 3D, kind of almost like a diorama sense, And let the rest bleed out black, and it works. It's great. I didn't have very many criticisms on this book. The only thing I asked was that they moved the lettering around so that they could actually see the arm being reattached and all this, and just to kind of give a better sense of what she was doing. But again, Keith did an amazing job. Only had a few criticisms. The team has been phenomenal. I mean, and Eli picking it up, it's just been a joy. I've been so happy to be able to talk about this book.
Yeah.
And then she just rips them all off, and then she comes up with a plan.
So they're all over at this establishment drinking.
Right.
And there's an explosion outside. Oh, she's here. She's ready to go.
I like their expressions too. They're all kind of like wide eye. At least the two in the front, they're like, "What? Boom! What the fuck was that?"
Yeah.
And so she's standing in front of their burning refinery.
Yeah, and I love this. This smoke up here and.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. And now her hair, is getting way crazy. I mean, even when she fell on the repairman in the last one, her hair was quite long. But I mean, I like it. I mean, it adds again a graphic element to it. It gives her kind of like a nice silhouette.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like this moment too, the whole zigzag, and then, I went over this with Shane, and I was like, I came up with this sketchy kind of like samurai swipe kind of pass. I don't really think I want to refine it too much. I kind of like the whole. It gives it a nice like a Ronin feel to it that I wanted to just kind of leave in there, and it's ambiguous. You don't know who got what, right? Until you look at the next panel. And he was game. To his credit, he was like, "Yeah, man, I want leave it like that. I think it works pretty well." So, I like it. It's kind of nice.
Yeah, and she's got this blade arm now.
Yeah. Well, that was the thing that he wanted to keep secret for a minute was that I do allude to it where she's like, hey, I need to do one more thing for me. And as we go to the end of the page, we see the blade thing sitting there on the table at the corner of the page, and then turn it, and then now it's a white hot cutting blade,
right?
Which is attached to her heart. I mean, I think the thing looks cool as hell.
Yeah, it does. And then we get sort of to the end here, and we find out that the mechanic is not as nice as you thought he was.
Not to be trusted. And I'll tell you, man, those backgrounds on these Western kind of motif things, that's not easy to do. That's some hard. I used a few different references for that photograph-wise, but I didn't feel like tracing them off, because I just there's a staleness and a stiffness that happens when you do that. And you can kind of tell when things have been traced off. So I just usually take the bulk, the majority shapes and shadows, and just kind of benefy them, and just kind of do wobbly lines and all that. So hopefully that doesn't look like it's been manufactured. But and he's a bad guy. So yeah, and then of course you get Milo's pin up here. Oh my god.
Yeah,
I can't say enough good things about Milo. And of course, he did the hair completely different, which is amazing. And this is my favorite thing about having people kind of take on these things.
Mine too. Yeah.
Yeah. What's their interpretation of like what the hair does and all that? So.
Yeah, you get some cool pinups, a little bit of back matter, and a little interview with you.
Yeah. And I don't know if those interviews are real. I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of it's. I think.
Tell anybody, man.
No, I think one of them. Yeah, right. Well, I think when you're reading them, I think you'll be able to tell, because Shane does a nice way of making it kind of tongue in cheek in a way. It's like yeah,
right.
Like I found him. He found me in the gutter, something like that. I can't remember how that works out. But I couldn't be prouder of the whole product. Super happy with Eli taking it on. I'm glad Shane asked me to be a part of it. We're going to do more stuff in the future. I don't know exactly what that's going to be, but we definitely want to do some more things.
Oh, look at that. Gray Matter Drip, The Art of Chris Anderson.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Available through Cosmic Line Productions.
Who'd have thunk? I heard that's a great book.
It's one of the best out there, I heard.
Actually, I think I should talk to you, chat with you when we have more time. I want to try to put together an art book, and I was looking at yours, and I got extremely jealous because yours is way more well put together than mine.
Well, yeah, totally. We can absolutely talk about it.
Okay, cool.
Dude, great book.
Yeah, thanks, man.
So they're taking pre-orders right now on CosmicLionProductions.com, and yeah, I mean, I highly recommend that people go out and grab it. It's a really cool book, and it's issue 1, so it's more to come. I take it.
Yeah, we'll see. We want there to be more. We'll see how this one does. But like you said, Shane and I have a couple of things we were talking about wanting to do. We might take a pause on this and work on something different. But I think I've already said too much. So.
Hey, you gotta have a 2 if you're gonna put a 1 on it. So.
Yeah, there you go.
Awesome.
Yeah, man.
Well, so you're at Bratty Ben on Instagram, and we now know that CosmicLionProductions.com is where you get DeathSlinger. Also, Gray Matter Drip, The Art of Chris Anderson. And then you said follow you on Facebook at this point, right? To get anything else from you?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'm not working on too much anything exclusive right now. I'm just trying to finish off this book called The Naughty List, which is a Santa Claus bounty hunter book, and then the bootleg RoboCop versus Predator. And
awesome.
then I have a super secret project that I'm doing with some pretty awesome dudes. One awesome dude, one really, really, really awesome dude. But can't say anything more about that or he'll kill me legally. But yeah, some good stuff's gonna be coming up. Yeah. I signed a thing. He can legally kill me if I speak about it. So.
You gotta read the fine print.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. So yeah, some exciting stuff coming up. I just need to find the time to do it, really. So. Mm-hmm.
Well, I can't wait to watch you blow up, man. You're definitely headed in the right direction in your career trajectory. So I just can't wait to see more from you, dude. I
really appreciate that, Chris. Thank you. You've been one of the inspirations for me along the way too, especially coming into the Ringside Seats group and finding you that way. You got some incredible work yourself, man. So
thanks,
yeah.
I try.
That's all you can do.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we'll talk to you later, dude.
All right, man. See you.
Right, bye. Join my Patreon to see my work before anyone else. Plus, score physical sketchbooks, mini comics, and commissions delivered right to your door. And reading my new books, Something Seems Off and Three-Headed Pigman, as they are made. Go to my website to order original art, commissions, and my books, Lost Angels, Spectral: A Showcase of Fear, Chaotic Neutral, and more. Gray Matter Drip, The Art of Chris Anderson, is available now from Cosmic Lion Productions. Here are the upcoming conventions I'll be at the time of this recording. And don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. It helps spread the word. Thanks.